Hey everybody, welcome to GN Invasion. This is James. Today's discussion is going to be about Atlus versus streamers pertaining to Twitch, YouTube, and any other streaming service. All of this is opinionated, so if there's anything that you don't agree with, or if there's anything that we haven't really focused on too much, please leave in the comments below. We will look at everything and just take it with a grain of salt. So let's get started with it. From my viewpoint, Atlus is stupid. Even though it's the publishers of Atlus that are doing this because they're the ones that hold the money and the rights to it, it's one of those things of why are you blaming or punishing Twitch streamers instead of, maybe just charging a fee or something like that. And I don't like to actually add money to it. But hear me out from my viewpoint. So back in the day, video games, we'll go PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2. Mm-hmm. Everything was actually locked behind finishing the game or putting in some type of cheat code, like in Grand Theft Auto, for either infinite lives, infinite weapons, or whatever else. But for people that played RPG games or action RPG games or even a platform, anything that had a long duration of it, they don't have it like they have games nowadays where you can actually see a progress percentage. Mm-hmm. So you didn't know if you was doing everything. What was that locked behind? A strategy guide. You pay $40, $50 for a video game, but then you pay anywhere from $19 to $40 for a premium strategy guide, which is no different than what streamers are doing now. Mm-hmm. Now, the difference is publishers weren't probably angry or upset about that because most strategy guide companies, I think the main one is called Prima, they make majority of the strategy guides or brandy games. Mm. They get a percentage, the publisher or the gaming people get a percentage. But streamers don't have to pay nothing to the publishers. It's technically free. The only way you pay for it is through donations. But it's not the streamer's fault. It's the viewers. And I'm not saying viewers' fault, but if you don't want a game spoiled for you,
don't watch it.
Don't watch it.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing, is that it's choice. So people that stream. Now, Twitch TV said that they are accepting and abiding by the rules that Atlus is putting in. And the biggest rules was 90 minutes per day for streaming, and it can't be major spoilers in the video, meaning they were cutting out certain parts of it. I mean, I guess you say that's okay and not, but if you're used to streaming any long-winded game,
especially RPGs, very long RPGs, like something like Dawn
Star Ocean.
Oh, Star Ocean.
Okay.
Star Ocean is a good one. Star Ocean is a very long game. I think it's like two discs. I have like Star Ocean, one of them at home, anyways. But there just like some certain key points that you don't want to miss in a game with their cutscenes. And that's basically, I'm guessing that's basically what Atlus wants to do. Some of the cutscenes you want to not show at all, but that's part of the game. It's part of the gaming experience. If I'm like looking through a Let's Play, let's just say I go on Twitch just so I can look at them playing the game, and all of a sudden they cut it off because of a cutscene, that ruins the experience to me. And that makes me, as a consumer, not want to purchase your game if you're not going to allow your Twitch streamers, which is free advertisement for you, to actually show off your game, not show all of it in its entirety. For example, I watched a YouTuber play Witcher 3, and I watched him not play the entire thing because I do want to play the entire thing myself, but up to a certain point, and I was like, this game is really good, I'm going to go out and buy it, and I did. Now, if he was stopped by the publisher or whoever to cut certain cutscenes or whatever in the game, I probably wouldn't have bought it, because I'm like, well, if you're gonna treat your streamers who are like doing this as free advertisement like this, what are you gonna do for me when I want to show people how your game is and how amazing my experience with your game is going to be?
Okay, and I 100% agree with that. speaking of which, certain games, and we're going to use Star Ocean. I have Star Ocean 2 Second Story, which is the first one that came out for PlayStation. That game's not graphically great, but it is very long. Goes up to level 255 or something like that. But if you're able to stream a game maybe that old and you're going through its entirety and there's a lot of stuff to it, there's relationships and everything else, granted, that's an old game, but there is a strategy guide. Let's admit, not too many people are looking at strategy guides nowadays. So what if people actually want to go back to old retro games like that and I'm streaming it? Well, it's not an Atlus game, but not only Atlus, but because of Atlus' approach, gaming publishers or developers like Sega also are now starting to look into it. So if Atlus is now starting this thing of, hey, we're going to limit to what you can do with a certain game, and Sega's not looking into it, what's going to stop other, companies, developers, or publishers that do games to actually do that? Now, the thing that's kind of contradictory is streaming helps sales all across the board. If it wasn't, systems like PlayStation and Xboxes wouldn't have the function inside of it to begin with. Because when I look at a game, whether it's a JRPG or RPG, because I do buy sometimes foreign games if I'm able to play it on here, I will go up on YouTube or on Twitch to see if somebody's playing the game and see if it's actually worth it. If the in-game graphics is good, if the gameplay is smooth, and the CG cutscenes, if Atlus is saying cut out the cutscenes from a game, I want to see how it looks, even if it's a different setup that they're using. If it looks crisp and it looks clean, that's going to give me even more appeal, more interest to want to see it, regardless of whatever I'm running and whatever setup I'm doing. Because the last thing you want to do, and this isn't shots fired at GameStop, but the last thing I want to do is buy a game because I can't look at it because of restrictions that publishers are doing, like Atlus. So now you're not making any money. But if I end up buying a game just out the clear blue skies, and then I'm angry with it because this game isn't what I thought it would be because I can't look at it, I can only trade it into GameStop and get $20, maybe 30 if it's brand new. So it's one of those things that it's a give and take, but at the end of the day, Twitch streamers shouldn't be the ones being hassled. It's the choice by the viewer. But the problem is it seems like it's a very asshole approach for Atlus and what they're doing with this, because you're pretty much saying, well, we can't stop viewers from viewing whatever they want to. We can't put limitations on them. So we're just going to go after people and limit what they're able to do, which are the streamers who make a profit off of it. And we're not just going to just go by Twitch streaming. YouTube and Twitch both have certain criteria that you have to meet before you're even making any type of money. That's why you see a lot of them have, hey, you want to donate, through PayPal or third parties or whatever else, because it probably does take a lot. And now with these type of restrictions, are the viewing audience still going to be loyal to them, or are they just going to stop watching that particular viewer when it comes to that game, which in turn financially does start hurting some of the viewers. I mean, some of the Twitch streamers. So that is a big issue that they're not looking at.
Yeah, and it's like with some games that we're basically going back in time, because when people started going on YouTube and recording their game and putting it up, they had restrictions from the very beginning. It's new now, especially with Twitch, that you can show the entire game and the gaming company is okay with it. But now they're going back with that, because I remember going on YouTube, and before I started streaming myself, and I was like, okay, how can I put a video up on YouTube without having a strike on my account? Well, they said you have to do something about the music, and you can't show the cutscenes. And I was really getting sick, because I'm like, you're basically taking the good things out of the game for me to show what I'm playing. So I contacted gaming companies myself, and it was like, no, it's okay, you can show everything, it's fine. And I'm like, that's perfect. And that's why some of these Let's Plays are on YouTube right now. They're showing everything, and they're not getting their account shut down because they're allowed to. gaming companies are opening up, but now that Atlus is doing this, they're kind of stepping back now, and that's really going to hurt the people who are doing the Let's Plays in the stream.
Yeah, so at the end of the day, it's one of those things of who's in the right, who's in the wrong, because Atlus is making their money off the game. Reviews have poured in from the first weekend. Persona 5 has sold millions of copies, but not everybody is a Twitch streamer. So for the Twitch streamers, you know, it's one of those things of, I'm not going to go to every Twitch streamer and try to figure out like, hey, is it hurting? Is it helping? It's a definite hurt, because when you have restrictions or you have certain rules you have to abide by for the YouTube, Twitch, or Stream.me, any of these different sites, now all of a sudden you have another regulation, it will become a hassle. I would like to know what y'all think. Leave comments if you can. Like, subscribe to our channel, and this is James signing off.
And this is actually Ash signing off. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.